What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 9 of Some Kind of Podcast. This is a podcast where we entertain you by discussing what entertains us. I am your host, Christian, and I'm here with my co-host today, Tim.
Biblion Bombawebe.
Yeah, and Cody.
Hello.
So we're trying out a new format for recording and launching content where we will now be recording on Sundays rather than Wednesdays and releasing the content still as per usual on Tuesday mornings. This is to make sure that we are able to bring you all the news from the entertainment industry each and every week with a shorter turnaround around launch for each and every podcast. And the added benefit of this is that we will now actually have 2 episodes released this week. By the time you actually are listening to this, episode 8, 25 Years of Pokemon is already live on your favorite podcast service and YouTube. In that episode, we talked at length about our favorite memories with the franchise, our favorite starters, and so much more. If you are a lifelong Pokemon master just like us, go check it out and make sure to like and subscribe. In a few of our past episodes, we have all mentioned our love of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the show we have recently become intrigued by Wanda Vision. So our topic of the show will be covering the finale of Wanda Vision and how that leads the MCU into its next phase, as well as, just our general predictions for kind of the road ahead for the MCU, but more on that later. So guys, I want to start this show off by doing a little bit of what you've been playing and watching. Tim, do you want us to start us off? Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing over the past week.
Yeah. So I've been playing Persona 5 Strikers. Still trying to go for a plat run.
How many hours in are you?
I'm only like 14, actually.
Okay.
Actually, I made more for 18. I kind of played a little bit more the other day.
The Persona 5 or whatever, like the base game, or even Persona 5 Royale, like it's like 100-hour plus. Do you think Strikers is going to be in that same ballpark? Okay.
No, we're talking 50 to 60, maybe.
Okay.
Because not to get too deep into like what actually is happening, but I've already completed 2 areas, and I'm only 14 hours in.
Okay. Out of how many do you know?
I think there's 7 or 8, but I've already completed 2. And in Persona 5, 14 hours in, you're not even done with 1 yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it is definitely a lot shorter than Persona 5, which is probably a good thing because I don't have as much time currently because I just have so much going on to invest in it like I would if with Persona 5.
Right.
But anyway, kind of tying into that to what other things that we do here on Some Kind of Entertainment. I have a review coming out hopefully in the next couple of days. I think that Cody to work on doing it of Persona 5 Royal. It'll have some minor spoilers, but nothing major. Nothing you can't find from the trailer as far as the story goes, and gameplay wise, only the basic kind of setup for it. So, if you are listening to this and you're liked our YouTube channel, give me a look out for that. Besides that, sorry, go ahead, Cody.
I was gonna say, is it a Royal review or a
not
Strikers?
Royal? Sorry, Strikers review.
Okay,
Strikers review, not Persona Royal. Too many different Persona games I've been playing. There's like 80,000. Persona 5 Strikers review is the one I'll be doing, not Royal. Besides that, I've been still watching Modern Family. I'm on season 8 of 11, and I've been just burning through it because there's 22 episodes on average per season.
Was this your first run through of the show, or is this
I've never watched it before, never. So
okay, yeah, because it's been on my radar and I just haven't gotten to it yet.
It's so good.
What's it on?
Hulu.
Okay.
I'm a sucker for a sitcom, as I've said many times before. So from the jump, I knew I was going to like it, and I do. So, and then I started Squidbillies because a dude from work was like, "Hey, I want somebody to talk to about this show. Here's the first season. Please go watch it." And I was like, "Okay." So I watched like 3 or 4 episodes last night, and I don't really know how I feel about it yet. It's real weird, and I don't really like the art style, but I guess that's supposed to be part of the joke. Is that the art style is really weird? I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I still have 16 more episodes to watch, but the good thing about Squidbillies is that they're only like 11 minutes long. It's like the regular show. which I love the regular show. So but I started doing that, and I've been reading because we talked about um, Pendragon somehow in the last couple episodes, and I was like, oh, I really want to reread that. So I got a bonus, and I bought the 10-book series collection through
Nice.
Amazon, which just arrived today. I was reading them. The first one you can get through Kindle Unlimited, which I have. So I read that for free. But I got the other. Well, I got the 10 in today, but the other 9 I need to read came in today. So that's what I've been doing.
Cool. Cody, what about you, man?
Oh God, I've just constantly binging Critical Role. I'm like 86 episodes in or something like that of 121.
How long is each episode?
4 hours.
Like 4 hours.
Damn.
They're so good though. They're so good. Like I can't recommend that enough. Other than that, playing a couple games with you guys, like A Way Out, Call of Duty. That's really about it.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy on my end.
Also, to be fair, it's a very short turnaround from the last episode we recorded. So it's
That's-
not really a week. It's like a couple days at this point.
Yeah.
Say like 3 or 4.
Well, cool.
What about you, Christian? What have you been playing?
Yeah, so on my end, I'm still rewatching Friends. I'm on like season 9 of 10. Just kind of have that on the background. It's at this point, it's like comfort fuel. Keeping up to date with Wanda Vision. I mean, that's only like an episode every week.
Oh, well, I mean, okay, I watched WandaVision, but
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later though.
Yeah.
And then I did get at the start of the month, earlier this week, PlayStation Plus put out the free game of the month. And for the PlayStation 5, it's a game called Maquette. Really don't know how you say it. Anyway, I played
We'll
it,
go
I
with
tried it
Maquette.
out, and finished it. And it's a pretty cool game. It's described as a first-person recursive puzzle game that takes you into a world where every building, plant, and object are simultaneously tiny and staggeringly huge. Head into the center of the world, and you'll feel like a giant, towering over buildings and walls, but venture further out and start to feel like as things get larger and larger, to the point where cracks in the ground become chasms. In Maquette, you will explore the scales of everyday problems in a modern-day love story, where sometimes the smallest of issues can insurmountable objects.
So what? What is
So
this game?
it's a puzzle platformer that like the story plot line of the game is tied to like a love story between these two people. I honestly, playing through it, could have cared less about the story plot line. I just really love to, I like, especially as like a palate cleanser between like really open world games that you have to like put a lot of hours into. I really like to pick up like an indie game or like that's a puzzle platformer that's probably only what, like 10 hours or less. It's just something quick to do. I originally was gonna platinum it, and then I realized that like about a third of the trophy list for the game was speed running all the levels, and I was like, I don't want to do that.
Oh no, that's just as bad as multiplayer.
Yeah, so I just did the once through. Took me about I don't know, 6 hours or so to get all the way through it. Not a really long game. If you got a PlayStation 5, you're subscribed to PlayStation Plus, it's worth at least a little bit of playthrough just to try it out. If you don't like puzzle platformers, then maybe not. But it was cool because I mean, like, I never really even heard about this game until like they were like, here's the free games of the month. And I kind of knew about Final Fantasy 7 for the 4, and I can't even remember the other one.
It's a VR game.
VR game? Okay. And I heard about those, but I didn't hear anything about this game. And so when it came out, I was like, what the heck even is this? So I looked it up, and then as soon as I saw it was a puzzle platform, I was like, okay, I mean, it's free. I'll try
Real
it.
talk, I didn't know this was a thing until you started reading it. So
Okay, well, yeah, check it out. Yeah, as soon as you turn on your PlayStation 5, it's, I think, for the entire month of March, able to do a free download on it. So
yeah, I'll definitely maybe I mean it's free, so I can pick it up. And
I was gonna say, might as well at least
there's
add it
no
to your library,
consequence.
right? You could always download it and play it at a later time as long as you add it to your library. But other than that, like Cody was saying before, we finally picked up A Way Out after like 2 years of contemplating whether or not we should play it.
So What's a way out?
So
It's
A Way Out,
not worth the money.
Oh,
it's we've been waiting to get it on sale, and in hindsight, we probably just should have
We
waited.
should have waited
till
till it was on sale.
was it really not that good?
So
It's okay.
The beginning, it's probably Cody. How long do you think it took us to get through it?
Okay, so first of all, what is it?
It's it's not what it seems like. So the game, it was advertised as a prison escape game where you're finding a way out of prison,
Okay, hence the way out.
and it's
Right.
the whole game is split screen whether you're playing online or not, which is kind of irritating.
Okay,
The prison part was really cool.
Yeah, but so like you have to play the game co-op. Like you can't do it single player, and you have
Okay.
to cooperatively like communicate back and forth and be like, hey, there's a guard coming, like stop doing what you're doing, or like stop unscrewing like the bolt on the wall. He's gonna catch you, and like like work together with teamwork so that you can get out of prison.
okay.
And when they marketed it and when they advertised it, Godin and I thought that was going to be like a majority of the game was finding a way out of prison. That's only like what, like the first third of the game.
If that,
I'll make maybe the first fourth.
it's like the first 3 episodes out of like 15.
Oh, is it episodic?
Not
No, that sounds like
chapters.
Telltale.
Yeah, it's like chapters.
okay.
Chapters.
And there's like 15 or 16 chapters, and the first 3 are in prison.
Yeah. And granted, I really enjoyed the ones that were in prison,
Yeah.
but as soon as you got out, they kind of like leaned on the plot a little too much, which I really didn't care about. Like I was really more into the whole having to communicate, teamwork, cooperative thing, since there's not many, or not a huge library of cooperative games that you can just pick up and play, especially online. But anyway, we did it. We platinumed it. As soon as we platinumed it, we deleted it. But
Yeah.
Fun fact, you don't actually have to finish the game to get the platinum.
yeah, also true.
You don't have to finish it
Nope.
to get the platinum trophy. I've never heard of a game where you don't
Nope.
have to finish
Pretty sure
it
there's
to
a
get the
whole like
platinum trophy.
2 chapters that are after the platinum.
Yep, it's kind of weird. I think the only other game that I've done that with messing around trying to get a platinum was Undertale. And Undertale, like I think you only have to get like 75% of the way through the game, and then like, just
I want to play Undertale really badly, and every time I pick it up, it seems like a game I'd be into.
Mhm.
But for whatever reason, I can just not get into it.
So I will say I enjoyed it, but I do think it falls into that category of games that just doesn't live up to like how astronomically hyped up the world has made it. Like it's not
Yeah.
that good. It's good, but it's not that good.
Because like, isn't the whole point like you can get through the game and not have to kill a single person?
Yeah, so like essentially like at the beginning parts of the game, you're trying to like make your way past like certain, like bosses or obstacles, and there's a way to like kind of like talk your way out of stuff, but like it instantly prompts you with like, hey, you can just kill this guy. And so like it's an easier for you right then because you just kill them and then you move past, but then those decisions make the end game so freaking hard that like it's almost unbeatable. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
interesting. So like if you're crafty enough at the beginning and you can work your way past certain like bosses or enemies being passive, then when you get to the end, it's actually really easy. But then if you make, on the flip side of that, if you make the beginning half of the game like really easy, then the back half of the game is going to be extremely hard.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I mean it's an interesting concept. I think I kind of did like a little bit of both. Because I mean I remember the end being challenging but not unbeatable.
Okay.
But yeah, so anyway, and our friend Steven recommended Little Nightmares 2 to me, which is another kind of puzzle platformer, but this one kind of lays more with the whole like horror terror thing. And it's interesting. I saw the first one came out a couple years ago, and since I love puzzle platformers so much, I was really interested in it. But I love horror movies, but I am really uneasy about games because they're just a little too immersive sometimes. So I was kind of
Mhm.
a little timid about picking this one up.
Did you play Little Nightmares 1?
I didn't. I looked it up, and Little Nightmares 2 was actually a prequel to the original game.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well,
like,
that's
even
good
though
then.
it's Little Nightmares 2, it actually takes place before it. So I was like, okay, well, that's fine. I'll just go and pick this one up. Also didn't help that, of course, my PlayStation 5, every single time I turned it on, was like, hey, here's Little Nightmares 2. You should buy it. And then I eventually, after like the 10th time saying, I was like, yeah, it's fine. I'll just get it. I played through, so it's in like 5 chapters. I played through the first 2 chapters, and it was a little like there were moments of like jump scares, but nothing too bad. And then I got into I was about to start chapter 3. It was actually last night. We were playing, Cody, Steve, and I were playing Call of Duty. Cody hopped off, and Steven was like, "Where are you in Little Nightmares 2?" I was like, "I'm about to start chapter 3." And he was like, "Oh, can I watch?" And so I should have known when he said that chapter 3 was going to be bad, because
Yeah.
let me tell you what, I have not been that terrified playing a game since like Outlast on the PlayStation 4. Like, it was
Mm.
horrible. Not gonna spoil anything in case
Bunch of
anyone.
jump scares.
So it's one of those things where like you at one point you have to flip off the lights and there are all these mannequins around, and the mannequins won't move unless it's dark. But then all the lights in this entire building go out, and the only light that you have is a flashlight. And so if you point the light on these mannequins that are trying to kill you and eat you, then they'll pause. But since there's a bunch of them, you have to keep like flickering back and forth between all these mannequins, and it's like pitch black, and it was I was not a fan. It was really creeping me out.
Yeah,
Ashley
that
was
sounds
asking.
terrible.
Ashley was watching over my shoulder from another room, and she was just like, "What the crap is going on?" But yeah, so I mean, it's fun. I will definitely finish the game and everything. As of this moment, I'm set on platinuming it. It doesn't seem like too bad, too hard of one,
You're gonna go and play Little Nightmares.
huh?
You're
You
gonna
can
go
play the
play
first
Little
one.
Nightmare. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I mean, it depends on how much the rest of this scares the crap out of me. But I'm enjoying the puzzle like platforming aspect of it. Like it's created and developed really well. So I highly recommend it, especially if you're a fan of horror. But yeah, no, I think I'll make that judgment call after I finish this game.
I am not a fan of horror, as you can tell from my Resident Evil 4 playthroughs.
Well, your Resident Evil 4 playthroughs aren't so much about the horror. I
True.
feel
It's more about my
it's just
frustration.
your frustration.
Mechanics.
That's why I can't wait till you play 7.
Yeah, I kind of just want to play 7 just to get it out of the way. But I know me and Christian can play 5 next, so
Well, we can play them in any order.
I know. Let me just be.
Alrighty, guys. So now that that's out of the way, I'm gonna move right into the next part of the show. We're gonna do another round of Steven's recommendations.
Steven's recommendations. Sorry, I don't know why I sung that.
You're good.
It's late. Okay, it's late.
Yeah, it is late. It is late. So for those of you that don't know, this is where our buddy Steven recommends something awesome for us to try. Sometimes it's a video game, sometimes it's like a fast food, some sort of food. But this time it's actually a Japanese candy with the brand name Kasugai? Kasugi?
Kasugi? Yeah, I don't know.
Kasugi? Yeah, sure. We'll go with Kasugi.
It's a cool looking like gummy candy that's found on like the international aisle in your local grocery store. We tried out watermelon and peach is what Steven recommended. So what did you guys think of it?
So, how to describe this? It is interesting. It's almost okay. So when you go and get it, they're in these little tiny packages, and there's obviously a peach and watermelon one, and they're very. I don't want to say this this play like, they're very Japanese in like, the bold lettering. How you would see like something Japanese commercial. It's very big lettering and all that stuff. But anyway, when you open it up, they're almost like the consistency of like a gummy lifesaver, but there's no circle. It's just like a droplet. Like if you imagine like a gummy lifesaver, but the middle is filled in. That's kind of what like the consistency is like. And there's this weird, I can't describe it, like powder. It's not sugar because it's not granulated like that, but it's not really like a powdered sugar either because it doesn't like just flake everywhere. It's almost like a flour kind of thing. I don't know if I'm guessing it's there to keep them from sticking together. But both the peach and the watermelon are both pink. So I was kind of like, okay, so they just essentially took a gummy thing and injected flavor into it. And I'm trying to be a little bit more health conscious right now. So one pack is only 200 calories, which is pretty good. So like in the grocery store where I'm at, it was only like $2. So it's like, okay, this isn't that bad of a little snack here to try out. But just weird because like you would expect like the watermelon to be like red or green or something, but they're both like these little pink lifesavers almost. Anyway, the
Did you like it?
watermelon the watermelon was pretty tasty, but I actually preferred the peach, which
Interesting.
is actually saying something for me because I don't really like a lot of peach flavored things.
Yeah, I don't know.
So like I can do with a peach milkshake when like Chick-fil-A has their peach milkshakes. I can throw down on that. But other than that, I don't really mess around with peach too much. I don't even really like peach cobbler all that much.
I don't know how many times I can quit this podcast with you two. Like, oh my God.
Just not a fan of peach, man.
But I like the peach more than the watermelon. So anyway, go ahead,
Okay.
Cody, with your thoughts.
Let me collect myself. Yeah, Tim's description is pretty accurate. The peach was definitely better than the watermelon. I love peach and watermelon. I think I like watermelon more, but those candies, the peach was better. I almost think the watermelon with that coating, they almost tasted too dry.
See, mine had like a weird, like it gave like the watermelon, like with the because the textures of the two things are the same. It was so weird.
Yeah.
But I swear like the watermelon almost had more of that kind of film kind of stuff on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so for you too, okay. And it gave it like a weird kind of like aftertaste the peach didn't have.
Yeah.
Maybe the peach was a little bit more predominant. It cut through that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if what kind of artificial flavoring they used or if it was just that powder stuff, but the peach didn't have a lingering aftertaste that wasn't, unpleasant.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, both are good. If I have to, rate it.
Yeah, how many Stevens out of 10 are you gonna give it?
I'd give the peach 7. I give the watermelon 5.
I think that's fair. That's what I give it.
Okay. I was gonna do this whole thing where I lied and said I tried it, but
Christian you had difficulty finding it though, right?
I did. Yeah, I did try to find it. In my defense, I went to 2-3 grocery stores and I couldn't find it. Granted, I'm still can't walk and rely on my wife to find things for me. So it might have just been that it was like, and she's also
Are you
short.
throwing Ashley under the bus here? Okay.
A little bit.
Ashley, when you listen to this, know that Christian threw you under the bus.
Because I mean, she's short, so it might have just been like out of sight.
Wow. Wow.
All right. If you're near a Harris Teeter and you're listening to this, they're in the international aisle. What Christian doesn't know is if you're in the Harris Teeter and you go in the international aisle, they're in the middle of the aisle, like on the case. It's right there in the middle. You don't have to reach for it.
It's been like a couple months since I've been in a grocery store because I'm handicapped right at the moment. So I've kind of forgotten what things look like. So I'm also not near a Harris Teeter.
That's true. We got like a Piggly Wiggly.
That's also a Carolina thing.
Is it really? I thought Piggly Wigglies were just like everywhere.
No, it's like a southern. I'm pretty sure it's a Carolina thing.
So
what should be a
what do
southern
you have
thing.
out there?
We have Price Cutter. We have Walmart. We have Target.
Yeah.
I think Price Cutter is probably like on par with Harris Teeter as far as just like the way it's stylized.
I think Price Cutter would be like a Food Lion almost.
See, that's what I was hoping. And then when it went in there for like 5 things and walked out and spent like $50, I was like, oh, well, I guess that's an expensive store.
Yeah, let's be real here. Harris Teeter is like the expensive grocery store, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Not more expensive than Publix.
I guess.
Well, it's among the expensive ones.
Y'all remember Winn-Dixie?
I do remember Winn-Dixie.
I do. Anyway, we should probably stop talking about grocery stores. Christian, what were you saying before about not lying?
Next week on some kind of podcast, we go through the grocery stores around the
whole thing is about what entertains us. And if we're entertained talking about grocery stores...
Let me tell you about that fruit aisle.
Okay, first of all, S rank is Publix. All right. And then, no, just kidding. Not about Publix being S ranked. It is. Just, I'm not ranking them.
Moving on.
Anywho, we're gonna scoot right along into the topic of the show, which, like I said before, is the MCU and the road ahead. We're gonna talk for a bit about WandaVision. First of all, full spoiler warning. If you don't want to know
Yeah,
what happened in
yeah.
WandaVision, just pause the podcast right here and come back and watch later. We promise it'll be right here waiting for you because we're gonna talk about all the spoilers. So again, spoiler warning.
All the spoilers.
So yeah, we're gonna talk about WandaVision, how it sets up the future of MCU. What exactly, what exactly the end of WandaVision kind of leads into, and what that means for the next phase, and what all of the other upcoming Marvel content expected to release probably later this year, but debating or judging kind of on like the past year or so. I mean, I guess that's all just like up in the air. Some of that might end up being
Um,
pushed into 22.
yeah. Well, I think they're trying to set up. Well, I don't really know. So, but I think what the show is releasing when they're trying to release that things might be a little bit more permanent. I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend like I know Disney because I don't. Moving on.
So anyway, yeah, so let's start off the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe conversation with WandaVision. So guys, after we finish the show, and I know that like the general consensus between us was that like the beginning was kind of like what the heck. But by the end, I think we can all agree that we are all pretty infatuated and we're like at least interested to see where it was going. But what are your
We
overall
cannot.
thoughts?
We cannot agree on that.
Yeah,
Huh?
Cody and I were talking when you were off camera. He was not a fan of the ending.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna,
But what's
Go ahead with your statement. We can talk about
pretty
it.
sure I told you this yesterday. Anyway,
what are your overall thoughts on the show?
All right, I'll start.
10 out of 10.
Okay.
I don't.
I'll start. I like the show. I like the ending. Some of the stuff that Cody is going to bring up, I agree with him. However, from a standpoint of like the first Marvel kind of show, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it did have that wonky start, and it got really, really good. And then it was building towards something that maybe didn't necessarily pay off like it should have, but overall, like it was good for what it was. It's definitely there's not going to be any more WandaVision. It was definitely just a one-off show. It's just 10 episodes, or sorry, 9 episodes. That it just is what it is, and that's always going to be what it is. There's not going to be a season 2 of WandaVision, and at least I don't think there is going to be ever right now, at least.
Yeah, they haven't said anything.
And it definitely sets up a lot of things. It sets up Doctor Strange too. It sets up Captain America, not Captain America, Captain Marvel too. In those regards. So for the purpose that it, did, for the purpose it was trying to, for what it was trying to do, it succeeded in it. It's just, there were some points that Cody, I'm sure, is about to talk here about in a minute that were true that didn't quite pay off. But anyway, go ahead, Cody.
I thought it was a masterpiece. I don't.
Shut up.
No. Yeah, I hated the first like 3 episodes, 3 or 4. Well, which one was it when they went out the bubble?
It was 4.
Okay. The black and white stuff I hated. Like the sitcom-y crap, the old timey stuff. Not a fan of, but that's just personal preference.
I like how they tied it in though with the flashback episode.
Yeah, no, I was totally fine with that. I just think it should have just been like 1 episode.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the middle of the show, and then it slowly started going downhill for me with like the last 3 episodes. Cause like they built up all this stuff and they had so much potential to go places with it, like the Quicksilver thing. I had 3 theories. It was either going to be Disney being cheeky and just being like, yeah, we're going to use Evan Peters, but it's not what you think. It's really just Evan Peters and he's just going to be some random dude. Or it's actually Quicksilver from another universe being mind messed with. But nope, they were just being cheeky, and his name was like Peter Boner or something stupid.
Yeah, like Chris Boner or something like that. And that, I mean, Out of everything you're about to say, the way they filmed the ball with Evan Peters was actually the most upsetting to me.
Yeah, that I definitely think that was the biggest letdown.
Like of the whole episode, when I was watching the finale, that was the only part where I was like, "Really?
Yeah.
His last name's Boner."
Um.
You think that's like a middle finger to Fox?
It kind of felt like it, even though they own
Yeah.
Fox. So
We're gonna take your character. We're gonna name his name Boner,
yeah, I don't.
and he's gonna make a joke about it.
Yeah, Boner. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. I don't know why they went absolutely nowhere with Darcy. Her character was literally there for like 5 seconds. Like they built her up like she's gonna be this big part of it, and then it was just like, where'd she go? Oh, she left.
There was no reason for her to be in the bubble or whatever they were calling it.
Yeah. The Hex.
The Hex. Yeah, there was no reason for her to be in it. She served no purpose. She didn't help Vision to get to where he was going.
No.
She didn't stick around for the aftermath. She played no part in the actual battle. The only thing she really did was stop that guy, and then just was like, "I'm out of here."
Yeah, she just pieced.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if Kat Dennings was just like, "I'm done recording. See you guys on next movie." I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a writing decision or a scheduling problem, but it didn't work. And like I appreciate that they were setting Monica Rambeau up for Captain Marvel 2. And, you know, like setting up her character as Photon or Spectrum, whichever one they decide to go with. But like I feel like again, they built her up to be this big part of it, and then she had one moment. And then she had her end credit scene where they kind of set the Captain Marvel movie up, and that was it. I don't know.
The one thing that really kind of trips me out about the show is that like there was like I don't know, it could pay off more in like Doctor Strange too, but like from the ending of the show where the show ended, you know, again, spoiler alerts, but I guess we're already past that point. Wanda undoes all this stuff, and then she's just walking down the street, and everyone's like, "We hate you," and then like all the police are there to arrest Wanda, and then she's just like, "I'm gonna leave," and they don't even try to stop her.
Yeah. Christian, you've seen all of The Office, right?
Yeah.
So I told Tim this. My view overall on it was when Robert California thought that Kevin was a genius when he was talking about cookies, and he kept trying to connect dots, and he was like, "Oh, it really is about this, that, and the other. Like, you mean like this is this thing, and that this means this." And Kevin was like, "Yeah." And then at the end, he's like, "You're really just talking about cookies, aren't you?" Like that's what the show was for me. Like they started building it up, and I kept in my head was like, "Oh, this is gonna go here." Her astrophysicist contact is gonna be like Rhodey or Mr. Fantastic or the Hulk or something. And then it was just some military person that nobody's ever heard of. And then Quicksilver wasn't Quicksilver, and they didn't do anything with any of these big moments. And I was like, oh, it was just cookies. That's how I felt personally at the end of it.
Now, I say that I agree with this Cody, but I still like the show.
I did enjoy it. As a starter to the MCU shows, I didn't hate it. Like I thought the quality was really good. I think it's a stepping off point, and I think that the future shows going forward, I think have a lot of potential.
All right. So to be fair,
before
you jumped down my throat, I was not going in the direction that I thought the show was absolutely amazing. I was going in the route that it had cool setups or potential to set things up for future shows.
Yeah.
I agree entirely with what you're saying. And the finale, especially the final battle in the finale, just kind of acted like it was boiling up to a head. It looked like it was going to be this big, awesome fight, and then it just kind of fizzled out.
Yeah, it was
nothing happened.
Very anticlimactic.
Um,
I
but
mean, when she's missing, I was kind of like, she's doing this on purpose, clearly.
in the grand scheme of things, as far as
Like they're drawing too much attention to the fact that she's missing.
all right, in the grand scheme of things, going into this show, I did not have that high of expectations because the show is centered around two characters of the MCU that I really didn't care about, honestly.
It's also true.
And then going forward, a lot of the other, and I feel like that's kind of Disney's like answer to, instead of everybody getting their own movie, they're going to take the like big fan favorites, give them a movie, and then everyone else just kind of gets put into a Disney Plus show.
I
Which
mean,
is
that works. I mean, for me,
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
I'm not mad at it.
I'm not either. And I mean, Disney Plus also just, finished putting out The Mandalorian, which is probably one of my favorite shows now.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
I definitely think the potential is there. And I think once they get the right footing, they'll definitely succeed at all the other future content. And we'll talk about that later. But before we get too off track, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the new characters that this show introduced. One of these, of course, is White Vision or Anti-Vision. I think at the end of the show, Vision kind of had this, technically the real Vision had this moment with the White Vision where I guess he restored his memories.
well, the real Vision is the White Vision.
Yeah.
Never mind. The Vision that looks like Vision
Yeah.
restored the White Vision's memories.
Yes.
And then he said, this is weird, and then flew off.
Yeah.
Didn't
So
stay
he's
to
out
help
there.
Wanda. Nothing.
Yeah, that was
just
that.
left.
That was the funny thing that I was kind of like, all right, if you know now that you are Vision, right, and you're like, I love Wanda, and she's in trouble, would you just fly off? I don't know. That was weird to me.
I did read something online where I guess the version of Vision is like, even though his memories was restored, he knows all of the same things and he can remember everything now, but he's still incapable of feeling like emotions. So even though like he knows that he's supposed to be like in love with Wanda, he doesn't know the feeling of love.
Because of the Mind Stone or whatever.
Yeah, so he's out there somewhere, and I'm sure they wouldn't have created him for no reason at all. So I'm sure he'll reappear in the
He'll be in
future.
a movie or something.
Yeah, future movie,
Yeah.
future series or something.
Captain Marvel 2 or something.
Right. And so the big question I had about Vision or Anti-Vision is, how do they have the ability to still shoot the beams out of their head if neither one of them have a Mind Stone?
Technically, the Vision that Wanda created does have a piece of the Mind Stone.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how that works because, like, the way they implied it was that she was always a witch, but then, like, the Mind Stone's powers enhanced them or awoken them or something. So she has a piece of the Mind Stone in her, and that's what he was created from.
Okay.
And the Anti-Vision was actually upgraded to be a military kind of robot.
Yeah, but he still was able to, like, phase through stuff.
Yeah, it's just that it had just a little too many of like the exact same powers, and I just thought that majority of those powers were just because of the Mind Stone.
Yeah, because of the Mind Stone.
And so if you took that away, it would just be like this like synthetic human.
Because he's vibranium.
But yeah, vibranium or whatever.
So I don't know. Plot holes.
Yeah, that definitely is a plot hole. I don't actually know.
Yeah. So in the second character I wanted to talk about was Agatha Harkness, which they made a big deal about her reveal in, I think it was episode.
It was Agatha all along. It was episode 8 or 7.
7.
Yeah.
So I looked this one up as well. And so in the comics, typically portrayed as Wanda's teacher or mentor, but she's also much, much older. So they're playing her role as very different when they showed her on the screen in WandaVision. So do you at the end of the show, she was kind of involved in that big final battle, and Wanda just kind of sealed her away inside, I guess, her house or something. I really don't know.
She's stuck in Westview. She can't leave.
Yeah.
She's going to be the nosy neighbor.
She's trapped inside her mind.
Yeah, until Wanda or she figures out how to break that spell.
Yeah.
But I feel like she's gonna come back up because, like, even though, like, you know,
100%.
even though Wanda is fully capable of like doing all the stuff on her own and knows how to like just miraculously do all these different spells without even casting anything, like there's this like Agatha is this like hecka old person who knows all these spells, knows all about the magic and all this stuff. Like I fully expect her character to pop back up as some sort of like mentor
I can
character.
kind of already see it right now. There's going to be something that comes up about witches or magic that both Doctor Strange and Wanda don't know anything about. And Wanda's going to have to go back to Westview and go back to Agatha.
It's going to be a plot point in Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah.
That's where I think they're going to continue the Wanda Vision storyline is going to be Doctor Strange 2.
But also with Stephen Strange.
Yeah. Who is the Sorcerer Supreme now.
Okay, so we need to talk about this real quick. Can we talk about how Wanda went from like B rank, like superhero, if we're being really honest, to like more powerful than Thanos, to more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, which doesn't make much sense to me, to like, I guess she's on the level with like Captain Marvel now.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call her a B rank. When she showed up in Ultron, she was D rank. All she could do was mess with people's minds, give them nightmares, and then she just got upgraded in Infinity War, and was all of a sudden ultra powerful.
We can assume that she's been training with the Avengers. That's fine. I can read in between the lines.
And then in WandaVision, she went from that to just like God level.
So was it hinting at, you know, like in this, they finally gave her the name, you know, Scarlet Witch, saying that she's this prophesized, you know, witch or whatever that's like ultra powerful, doesn't ever need to say a spell, can just like do whatever the heck she wants. So I guess in the plot of the of WandaVision, was it trying to insinuate that she was Scarlet Witch from the beginning, and then she was imbued with the powers of the Mind Stone, which just enhanced her abilities?
That's what they were alluding to.
Yeah, they never explicitly say it, but it is alluded to that Wanda may have had something to do with why the bomb never went off to kill her and Pietro, and that then she went and got tested on by the Scovian government or whatever.
And she volunteered.
To the Mind Stone. Oh yeah,
she volunteered with Hydra to keep her and her brother safe, and then the Mind Stone reacted to her abilities or something.
So she definitely was enhanced, because it also said, you know, as Agatha said, that, you know, the Scarlet Witch isn't born, it's created.
Yeah, so
that's right. So then sorry, go ahead, Tim.
No, I was just saying, like, so it's alluded that like Wanda always had witch-like powers. It was just the Mind Stone enhanced them,
made her the Scarlet Witch.
Made her the Scarlet Witch. Yeah.
So the last two characters, it's not their first on-screen appearance, for various different reasons. But the third one I wanted to bring up was Monica Rambeau. So of course you saw her as a kid in Captain Marvel, which of course
I totally forgot about that too until I read about it online. Then I was like, oh, that's how she knows Captain Marvel.
Yeah. So she's a kid in there. She's the daughter of Maria Rambeau. Maria, of course, is the best friend of Captain Marvel. And so at the beginning of the season, it was stated that Maria passed away sometime during the blip. Because like at the beginning, I guess when they first showed Monica on screen, she like when she returned out of the blip, she was like in the hospital looking for her mom, and the doctor told her that she had passed. And so now Monica, with all the times that she went in and out of the, what was it called? The force field?
Oh, the Hex.
The Hex.
The Hex. So now she's allegedly, I guess, has now developed powers of some sort. And I guess the most common theory is that she's now Photon from comics.
It's Photon or Spectrum. She has like 20 different names in the comic
I
book
mean,
history.
she is actually Captain Marvel at one point.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
Kind of like
yeah.
how like Bucky and Falcon take on the mantle of Captain America at some point. She takes on the mantle of Captain Marvel at one point in the comics.
I
Okay.
think they're going to go with Spectrum, just judging by the way that she could see the color spectrum.
Hmm.
That's my guess.
So when's the next on-screen appearance for? Do you
Captain
think it's
Marvel
gonna
2.
Captain Marvel 2? Do you think
She's
that's gonna come
confirmed
out?
for Captain Marvel 2.
Do you think that's gonna come out before or after the like Secret Invasion thing?
Captain Marvel 2 is currently slated for 2022.
Oh, is it? I don't think I
Yeah.
even realized that.
Yeah, currently, because I think Brie Larson started filming or is going to start filming soon.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
they're in production for Captain Marvel 2.
Okay. And then, so the last character I just kind of wanted to bring up again.
Also, by the way, I mean she's gonna go meet up with Nick Fury. I don't know if anyone didn't know that or not.
right? Yeah, we'll talk
Yeah.
about the after the credit
Okay.
scenes here in a
Okay.
sec. So the last character I wanted to bring up was Pietro Pedro, Wanda's supposed brother, played by Evan Peters, who played Quicksilver in the X-Men universe before Disney bought them. And when he appeared on screen, everyone freaked out, thinking that there was going to be an X-Men crossover of some sort. And then it seemed in this final episode that, as you guys were talking about before, they just kind of played him off as being this random character that was controlled by Agatha.
Yep.
Yeah. So when I was watching Game of Thrones and Jamie just leaves Brienne in Winterfell, I was like, well, that was a waste of a character arc.
Oh yeah.
And when this dude was just like, I'm Chad Boner, I was like, this was a waste of a character arc, as I felt exactly the same way.
Yep.
Just so disappointed and just mad. And I know it's a silly thing to be mad about, but it's like you had so much you could have done with that and you just threw it away.
So many opportunities just wasted.
Do you think that it was what they did in the final episode was just a way to throw watchers off the trail? Like, do you think there's still potential for an X-Men crossover?
I mean,
I
there's
hope,
potential for
but
anything, but they definitely played that off as if they don't have any plans to do it in these shows.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Doctor Strange is like Doctor Strange and the multiverse madness or whatever, madness
True.
of the multiverse. So like legitimately anything's on the table. As I'll express probably when we talk about the overall opinion of how WandaVision is going to be on the MCU.
And so the after credit scenes, like Tim was bringing up a second ago, so I think the first one was with Monica Rambo, Photon, whatever you want to call her, Spectrum, meets with a member of an alien race called Skrulls that appeared in Captain Marvel, and says that she was sent by an old friend to request her help. And she asks, like, where are we going? And she just points up. So I think, like Tim was saying, it's alluding to space. And what was the one like after credit scene where
Far
it showed
from
like
far away, Spider-Man Far From Home, or
Far From
whatever.
Home?
Yeah,
Where,
that's
like,
where like Nick Fury is in it, but he ends up being a scroll, and then
Okay.
he's just up in space. So when he said he wants to meet you and point upwards, like you can assume it's probably Nick
It's
Fury.
Nick Fury on the
Fury.
Skrull spaceship.
Yeah,
up in space. I think it was a sword like space station, wasn't it?
I think so.
yeah. I don't remember where it was. I just know that he was hanging out with them. So last time we saw Sam Jackson, so it makes sense that those two would meet up.
Mm-hmm. So do you think the next time we see all of that happen, like we were saying before, that's going to be in Captain Marvel 2 then, you think?
Probably.
Well, I know that like for the actress that's playing Monica Rambeau is confirmed for Captain Marvel 2, so she's going to be in it. So I don't know if she's going to get the Disney Plus TV show treatment to get her own little thing. Probably not, because she kind of got her like starter backstory kind of thing in WandaVision. In fact, I feel like WandaVision was more about setting her up to be Photon or Spectrum than it was about Wanda, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But she's going to be in Captain Marvel 2 for sure.
Okay. And so the last after credit scene, the very, very last one, it showed Wanda, or now officially Scarlet Witch, up in a cabin, just kind of in the middle of nowhere, seemingly researching witchcraft when she hears the voices of her supposed children. So kind of what do you guys think's going on here, and what do you think it's alluding to?
Well, she was totally doing the whole Sorcerer Supreme thing where she was doing two things at the same time, so to speak, because she was drinking coffee, but then in her Scarlet Witchy form was also reading up on it, which is how I think, is going to lead into her meeting up with Doctor Strange, even though I guess she already knows Doctor Strange. She doesn't really have to meet up with him. She knows Doctor Strange, right? Do you know Doctor
Yeah.
Strange?
I mean, at least from Endgame.
Okay. Well, either way, that's probably how they're going to tie Doctor Strange into Wanda. As far as her kids go, I mean, maybe the reason she seeks out Doctor Strange for help is because she wants to go drag them back from another universe where they're alive.
It's that, or he goes after her because she's doing it.
Yeah, because I guess this whole thing is to protect. Actually, that'd be kind of cool. I would actually like to see like Doctor Strange versus Scarlet Witch. That would be pretty cool.
That was my theory for the movie, that Wanda was going to be not the villain,
catalyst,
but the antagonist.
The catalyst, so to speak.
Okay. And so you guys kind of touched on this before. So do you think WandaVision is just a one-off? Like, do you think it's a once and done thing?
Yeah. I think they're only. I mean, if it's not going to be anytime soon, if they're going to do another, because first of all, we don't know what's going on with Vision, or if the two are even going to, I'm assuming they're going to probably meet up again at some point, but we don't know when or how or why or what Vision's going to be like.
Because, 3 movies down the road.
Yeah, who knows? So, there's that, and yeah.
Okay. So what best guess, what all things that were alluded to or built up within WandaVision do you think will connect to the next phase of MCU?
Other than Monica?
Yeah, other than Monica.
I'm sure Vision will show up in Captain Marvel.
You think it's going to be that soon?
It's going to be Captain Marvel or Guardians. I
think they should just leave him alone until like almost the next Avengers movie. Like, it should be a while before we see Vision again. Now, do I think that's going to happen? No, but
it's either that or he shows up in Doctor Strange. You know what I mean? Like it's either going to be really soon or it's going to be years before we see Vision again. Like, I don't think there's a middle ground. I think it's like you said, it's either the next Avengers movie.
I kind of hope it's years. Just, maybe the anti-Vision has to go find himself.
He becomes a Silver Surfer.
Maybe. Hey.
There you go. There's your crossover.
Tie in the Fantastic Four.
I hope they don't do that.
You don't?
I don't want him to just become another character.
Oh, I don't think... I wasn't being serious. I don't think he's going to... I mean, I hope he doesn't become the Silver Surfer.
Chris Evans did it.
Huh?
Chris Evans did it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But no, since they just let all of their cool build-ups fall flat, I don't know anything else that's gonna tie into anything.
Yeah, see, here's what bothers me about kind of where I hope that they're not doing right now is that one of the cool aspects about Endgame, even Infinity War, was that the Avengers had consequences for their actions. It wasn't just there's problems and we're going to come in and save the day and then we're all going to go eat shawarma. You know what I mean? There was consequences and they had casualties. And now it seems like they brought Vision back in WandaVision. I don't know about Black Widow, but I swear to God, if I watch this movie come May when it comes out, I hope, and they somehow bring Natalia back, it's just kind of right, what's there was really no point because, and now, with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, whatever the movie is called, anything can be on the table, I assume that people like RDJ is done with Iron Man and Chris Evans is supposedly done with Captain America, but it's just all the other casualties, was they really, they had an opportunity to take, something and move forward with maybe the new Avengers and the new have Falcon take up the mantle of Captain America, and
Bring in the X-Men,
bring in the
Fantastic
X-Men.
Four.
It just seems like they're kind of bringing, and like I don't have a problem with if Black Widow's in there, and I don't have a problem with Vision being back. It's nice to see him again, but it's just kind of like you had an opportunity to do something new. And honestly, up until Endgame, some of the characters that you see a lot were getting kind of stable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I guess, like, Cody was saying before, like, I mean, anything can happen. I think Disney at this point and Marvel is gonna try to move forward to like the next phase. I think that was the whole part of, like, of course, Black Widow got killed off. Iron Man, of course, is gone. I'm assuming by this point, Captain America is just dead of old age, uh, or he's just, enjoying his elderly years somewhere.
They could still do prequel movies or movies where he's in that other timeline.
No, I'm not saying, like, again, like, I'm not saying that they couldn't do it. I'm just saying that I think they, like, there's this whole thing about like the Young Avengers cast, which I think we'll talk about that here in a second. And they're bringing in, new characters with like Shang-Chi and everything. And I think and hope, kind of like Tim was saying, that they are starting to move forward. And I think they're going to move away from like trying to go back to these old characters that have already, had their way more than their share of the spotlight.
I hope so.
I think the only exception to that is in a movie like Doctor Strange, where you have the multiverse going on. You might see a few cameos in there of random people that are like supposed to be dead. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Black Widow pops up on screen for a second to have some sort of interaction with one character or another.
Even RDJ.
Yeah, or even Robert Downey Jr. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. I think I would be surprised if it was a permanent addition. Like if they brought them all back and then they're just here again.
That's what I hope. Like like as much as I would love to have Robert Downey Jr. back as Iron Man,
of course,
it's time to move on.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that they are with Ironheart and everything else that they got planned. Like I hope they legitimately are moving on. We'll see.
There's 22 movies with Robert Downey Jr. being great. If you want to have new nostalgia pop, go back and rewatch them. But new stories, new characters. That's what I feel the MCU needs moving forward.
Yeah.
At least to keep people like me that have been on board, because like I watched Iron Man in 2008, and in 2020 or in 2019 they wrapped up the stories. It's been I've been on the board for 11 years. Like I'm ready to see new stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of new stuff, we can start taking a look at the road ahead now. So the first, or I guess the next big thing coming up is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's releasing on Disney Plus on March 19th. So really only a couple weeks away. Where do you think this storyline will start in relation to everything else going on in the MCU? And what do you think it'll like cover in the first season?
I think it's going to be just like Wanda Vision. I think it's going to be the same time period.
Like overlapping?
Yeah, I think it's going to be weeks after the events of Endgame. At most a couple months. And then it's just going to be them working together as superheroes, agents. I'm not really sure where they're going to go. It looked like a Top Gun trailer. So
I don't want it to be like this buddy cop action flick show where like Falcon has to take up the burden of being now Captain America, and it sort of kind of needs Bucky's help along the way. Is kind of what I want.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know I don't know enough about both characters. I know that they both in their own respective comics did take up the Captain America mantle. But obviously they're going with Falcon in the MCU. So, I want to see Falcon embrace his Captain American-ness. So whatever that means for going forward. Obviously, he's gonna be different than Chris Evans, but he'll have Bucky there to help him, just like Chris did.
Yeah.
Right. And I think this came up in casual conversation when we were chatting the other night. But at the end of Endgame, Captain America passed along his shield to Falcon, and it's kind of a bit up in the air as to like whether that was symbolic, whether that meant that he's officially the new guy, like he's assuming the throne of Captain America, or what's going on there. Who, if anybody, do you think will carry the shield going forward?
I think it's gonna be Falcon. It's so my theory is that it's either gonna be Falcon or it's going to be a third person that we don't know yet from the comics, that will have, like that super soldier serum in them and end up taking the mantle. Or they'll do like the anti-Captain America and he'll take the shield and then turn evil or something. They could go a lot of ways. I hope, out of the two of them, I hope it's Falcon.
I mean, I can totally see them. Like I said, I wanted the buddy cop action flick. Falcon taking up responsibility of Captain America, but I can totally see the show being about them two arguing over which one should take up the mantle as Captain America. But I'm pretty sure at the end of Endgame, like
Bucky knew what was happening.
Bucky kind of like tells him to go talk to Steve and take the shield. He kind of like almost like says like, no, I don't want that responsibility. You take it.
Yeah, I'm not worthy of that. It's all you, bud.
Yeah. Like, there's a moment between the two where like Anthony Mackie's character looks at Bucky and it's just kind of like, are you going? And he's just like, nah, that's you, bro.
Yeah.
That's all you. I don't want none of that.
I think he still doesn't think, like he still has that like, I'm a bad person mindset. Even though he was mind controlled.
Yeah.
I mean, dude still did a lot of crap.
True.
It's true.
And I guess the last thing with his storyline is that he now does. There was a line, I think it was in Civil War, where I think he says, "I remember everything." So I mean, like he knows what he did, all of it.
Yeah,
he can actually remember anything. It's not like he was just brainwashed and completely just
he wasn't in control of his actions, though. It's like
right.
he was a passenger, and there was another personality driving, basically.
Right. So with this series coming up, any hopeful crossovers or anything that you think will pop up?
I mean, I would like to see a crossover, from any of the big characters. Like, it'd be cool if the Hulk showed up at some point.
In Winter Soldier show?
Yeah.
Well,
It'd be cool to see that. Rhodey, I'm sure, would probably pop up.
I hope so, because in WandaVision, everything was kind of contained in the hex and whatnot, whereas like that's not going to be the case for this show.
Gotcha. So,
but I would mean anybody would be cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
any of the big names would be pretty great.
Well, I guess we will see. Does anyone know? I guess this is going to be like another like 9-10 episode thing.
Yeah, I don't know if they've actually said anything about it.
Yeah, I know very little about. I didn't even know the name of the show. And is it called just Falcon Winter Soldier?
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, yeah.
Yeah. And that's purposefully because I don't really like with those kind of things. I want to know as little as possible. Really just want to know. Like I did the same thing with WandaVision. Just because I want to protect the integrity of me watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I just need to know the date when it's coming out. I don't even know what is there another show announced after Captain?
So I think Loki is after that.
Okay.
Everything after that doesn't actually have like a for sure date. It's got like a general time frame window of like it's supposed to come out like fall of this year or like early 22. The only thing on the upcoming on the Marvel roadmap ahead is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
But Loki has trailers, which is why I believe like that's clearly the next thing that's going to come out.
Right. And so with the other shows, since we're already still talking about Disney Plus, like Cody said, there's Loki, and then after that's What If, and the other one that's kind of out there is Hawkeye.
Right.
And so with Loki, I I was trying to look a little bit about these up, and because I honestly didn't like, kind of like Tim was saying, I didn't really know much, and I don't tend to look into it, especially I don't like to go down the like conspiracy comic book rabbit holes
Yeah.
and try to like decipher like, wait, what's gonna go on? Because I'd rather just watch it.
Yeah.
Well, then I get
Put it on
myself
screen.
hyped up for
You
stuff
get
that
hyped
probably
up
isn't
and then
gonna
it doesn't
happen.
happen, and then
Yeah.
But the general like synopsis for Loki is series takes place after Avengers Endgame, which saw Loki steal the Tesseract during the 2012 events of Avengers, when Robert Downey Jr. or Iron Man and I think it was Ant-Man go back in time and are trying to do the time heist thing and collect the stones.
yeah.
And so they kind of messed up there, and Loki kind of like piffs off. So this kind of follows in the series, with Loki using the Tesseract to travel through time and I guess just causing mischief, altering human history.
Yeah.
Um,
And then becoming some kind of time agent or something. Like they
Hmm.
capture him and then he has to work for them.
Who's them?
It was Owen Wilson.
Huh.
He was in
Wow.
like a prison jumpsuit in an elevator, and Owen Wilson was just like talking to him, and then it looked like he was doing secret agent stuff.
I didn't even know Owen Wilson was in the show.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Interesting. So yeah, that's that. It definitely has the most out there with trailers and content and description and everything. So that's probably going to be the next one up. What If is something I saw the logo pop up a few times on a couple of Disney Pluses, like press releases. But I didn't really know what it was about until I looked it up the other day. And so it's the upcoming animated series. They'll take a
Oh.
look at alternate scenarios based on characters and events from Marvel's first 23 MCU movies, which together make up the Infinity Saga. The show is one of 8 MCU TV series headed to Disney Plus and is the only one that's animated.
Yeah. Also, I don't think it's like a canonical thing. I think it's literally just a what if.
Right. Like I think it's like a fun thing. Like
Yeah.
I think it's almost like even geared towards like kids. Like I think it's just like an
Yeah.
animated
It's just
show
like,
that's just got a
what
bunch
if
of cool
Loki
plot
was
lines.
Iron Man? Like like it's just weird stuff like that.
Mhm.
What if Loki was Iron Man?
It does look cool.
I mean, I'll
In
watch
all
it.
honesty, yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think there's a single thing that Marvel could put out that I would not at least try it.
Yeah.
I mean, I always say, like, with every movie, I'm always like, this is where I get off the Marvel train. This is where I get off the Marvel train. And then the next thing comes out, and I'm like, well, I should probably check it out, at least see what it's like.
Yeah.
Like, I had no desire to watch Wanda Vision, and I watched all 9 episodes.
I
so.
legitimately forgot it was coming out. And then
Yeah.
it was like,
There's that
oh,
too.
yeah, it's out. Okay, I guess I'll watch it.
I gotta say though, out of everything, like I have nothing against Loki as a character. I would never like. I thought he was a cool addition to like the Thor, group of people.
Mm.
But I never would have like said, "Hey, you should make a whole series just on Loki."
Yeah,
I
no.
don't not saying that it won't be good. It might be awesome for all I know. And the what if is just kind of its own fun little thing. I'm actually honestly excited about Hawkeye. From what I looked it up, it says the series is expected to follow Clint as he trains Kate Bishop to become the new Hawkeye. The show is also expected to examine Clint's time as Ronin, who he performed as during the blip time period between Infinity War and Endgame.
I think that's going to be flashbacks.
I'm sure it is, but it's still gonna be awesome to see
Yeah.
it though. It's even if it's like a PTSD flashback of Clint.
That's what I think it's going to be.
Crap.
It's like he's going to be training her, and then maybe she hits him or something, and he like snaps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm excited about this, and another one of the reasons I'm excited about it is that Kate Bishop, along with I think the 2 kids of Wanda, the daughter of Ant-Man, and I'm forgetting the rest. Anyway, that group makes up like a group of kids that I guess in the comics are called or referred to as the Young Avengers. And so for a long time running, it's been like a theory that like the Disney Plus shows are kind of one by one building up these background characters. They're actually all going to come together at some point in the future and form like I don't think it'll be a movie. I think it'll be its own
TV show.
Yeah, like on like Netflix when Netflix was doing Marvel stuff for that short while before Disney was like, no, we're gonna want that back.
Yeah.
When they did the
Speaking of which, they
Defenders.
got rights to some of that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I think they got the rights for Jessica Jones and Daredevil back, or maybe it was Punisher.
Oh, dude, I would kill to have another season of the Punisher. That was
I can't
freaking
remember. Yeah,
awesome.
don't quote me on that yet. But I saw the other day that they did buy or get the rights for 2 of those shows.
Okay,
Disney or Netflix?
Disney did.
Netflix.
Disney got the
What?
rights for the Netflix shows. Those characters.
Oh, so you're saying Disney has the ability to make shows on them now?
Yes.
Well, I think Disney always did. They just loaned out the rights to Netflix because they didn't really want to do anything with the characters, but I think they got them all back now.
It was similar to the Fox thing where Netflix very intelligently bought the rights to the characters before Disney could buy them back.
Oh, okay. I guess I missed that then.
Because back before, when Disney and Marvel before they had their big partnership, Marvel was broke. Like they weren't doing too hot.
But anyway, so the whole point of bringing the whole Netflix thing up was, they did, the Daredevil, the Punisher, all Jessica Jones, and then they brought them all together to make the Defenders, which was its own little, mini series or whatever, which in my opinion wasn't great.
It wasn't.
But anyway, I think that's what they're doing here. I think they're building up these kids one at a time in all these different Disney Plus shows, and then they're gonna pull them all together and do like a Young Avengers series.
The problem, I hope they do. The problem I have with that is that Kate Bishop and Wanda's children are the closest in age. Like, but Ant-Man's daughter didn't blip. Like, she aged 5 years. So she was a teenager in Endgame. Right?
I think Kate Bishop's on the younger end, but I think she's a teenager too, isn't she?
I don't know. She might have been like 12 or something, but all 3 of his kids were really young, and they all blipped with his wife.
Because I remember at the cutscene at the very beginning of Endgame,
they were shooting arrows, right?
Right, but she seemed like she was like 13.
Yeah, 12, 13.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she's closer to Ant-Man's daughter, but like Wanda's kids, whatever, they can age themselves.
I was gonna say
they can.
My argument's invalid. Never mind.
But anyway, it's just a theory. They might not even do any of that. So it's at the very least, I really like Hawkeye's character. I like the whole
I like Jeremy Renner. He's a great actor.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see it, regardless of whether it's primarily him, and then it just has Kate Bishop developing as a character in the background, or what it is. I'm excited for it. So,
yeah, absolutely.
But I think as far as confirmed things within the short-term window, that's it for Disney Plus shows. There's a lot more out there, but they're like down the pipeline into like 22, 23.
Yeah.
The Marvel movies coming up, one's maybe coming to theaters, and then probably coming to Disney Plus for the coming to Disney Plus for the the premium, $19.99, $24.99, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Cost to stream from home. Got Black Widow, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and Thor: Love and Thunder.
Technically Spider-Man 2, or Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man as well, but it's technically a Sony movie, even though it's part of the MCU.
Yeah, and what's weird is I had this a moment the other day, or I guess it was last week, when I was going on and rewatching a bunch of the Marvel movies, just kind of in the background while I was doing some work, and I was like, I'll turn on Spider-Man, and I was like, oh, that's right. Even though it's in the same universe, it's still not owned by Disney. So, no, I'm excited for that one as well. But I just don't.
I'm super excited for that one.
I think it's really funny how all over the place the conspiracies are for what that timeline is going to be. Like everyone thought that it was going to be like 100 different people were going to be in that movie, and then like, no, none of those people.
Well, look, Disney is notorious. Marvel is notorious for like leaking stuff and then being like, no, none of that's true, and then it's totally true. And then they're also notorious for leaking stuff and then it being like, yeah, we told you it wasn't true. So,
right.
Hard to tell.
Who knows?
So I think I forgot to look up the actual official date, but Black Widow I think is the next movie coming out.
It's May 5th.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
You're right. Subject to change as everything else is nowadays. And then I think following that, I think the next thing is Shang-Chi. It's either Shang-Chi or Doctor
I
Strange.
think it's Doctor Strange.
I'm pretty sure it's Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't. I think Shang-Chi is going to be like the end of
I'm
2022 or 23.
Fairly certain Doctor Strange is coming out around the holiday season.
Okay.
Yeah, like
So
I'm
maybe
pretty sure
Shang-Chi
it's
and
it's
Thor: Love and
Black
Thunder like next
Widow,
year.
Black Widow, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, then maybe Shang-Chi. I think.
Again, I have no idea because I
Yeah.
don't really pay attention.
Or
Yeah,
maybe
so
it's Thor. Yeah, I really don't know.
I was pulling these movies off of Disney's like official press release for like the future timeline of their movies, which of course Spider-Man, which wouldn't appear on because it's not owned by Disney.
Yeah.
And so the reason I didn't put Captain Marvel 2 on here was because it wasn't even on there. This was like the most recent one. So I don't know if that was just something that they recently decided to like speed up
No.
and start like putting more so in the works.
Doctor Strange actually supposed to come out in March, a year from now. March 25th, 2022 is the tentative release date.
Okay. I could have sworn it was 2021.
Yeah.
Or at some point it was.
Yeah. It's honestly it could have been.
Wait, no, Shang-Chi, this was supposed to be this year because we did the Metacritic thing on it. It's supposed to come out
we
this
did.
year.
You're right. You're 100% right.
You guys had
It's
me doubting
supposed
myself.
it's supposed to come out this year at least.
Yeah, supposedly.
I was right.
Christian, you're usually right.
It's not always true. Anyway, I mean, a lot of stuff with WandaVision, of course, is going to tie into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Still don't know a ton, really anything more about Shang-Chi other than like the like kind of loose tie-in to the last Iron Man movie with Tony Stark's kidnapping and the encounter with the Ten Rings organization. The Thor: Love and Thunder movie was the one that like
You see pictures of Natalie Portman? She's all jacked now.
yeah.
She put on some weight and muscle to
Good for
be
her.
Thor.
So the first movie, the Thor movie or whatever, like I thought it wasn't like perfect, but I enjoyed it. The second one, I thought it was too dark, almost went like a DC route. And then Thor Ragnarok, I freaking loved it.
Choice.
Best one of the three.
Absolutely.
Easily, hands down.
And then I thought that I was like, okay, cool. This is gonna be what's the director's name? Like
Tiki Watiti, whatever.
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, anyway, he's super cool. I love I think any movie that I've ever seen that he's directed, I've loved. Including the really depressing one. What was it? The Jojo Rabbit. There we go.
Oh, that actually was really good. And it was really depressing.
But yeah, so anyway, I really love the route that it was going. And I have nothing against a female Thor at all. I just don't know if Natalie Portman was
the only time I've ever really liked Natalie Portman that I can pull out of my brain is Star Wars. And even then, meh.
Yeah.
Well, now she can beat you up because she's jacked, dude.
I mean, that's great. Good for her. Like I said, I got nothing against her personally. I just don't enjoy
I'm
her
hearing you
movies.
hate Natalie Portman. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing you hate Natalie Portman.
She's kind of the worst. She's kind of the worst. No, I'm just kidding.
And so another like plot hole potential thing here is that Mjolnir is exploded at this point in the timeline.
Yep.
And
the only reason it was in Endgame is because, of course,
but did Thor ever give it back?
Broman Thor went back in time and brought it with him back to present day to use it in the big battle. And then when Captain America brought the stones back, he also brought Mjolnir back. So it still doesn't exist in the current timeline. So I'm curious as to like how Mjolnir is just going to manifest and she's going to be able to wield it.
My like innate ability to call stupid crap is tingling, and I really think they're gonna pull Peter Dinklage's character out again, and they're gonna be like, yeah, we figured out how to get like the lead gauntlets off of him, and he just made a new one.
The dwarf on the
star or whatever.
Star.
Yeah.
According to IMDb, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is set to come out on July 9th.
Oh, well, there you
Not
go.
one trailer yet.
I've not heard a single thing.
Yeah, and I mean, here we are a couple weeks removed from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I mean, there's trailers, but nothing like extensive. There's not a lot out there.
I mean,
I think it
no,
was
but
kind
there's
of similar
something.
for, yeah, but I mean, so what is it, March? And you said what was the date, Tim?
For what?
Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Oh, July 9th.
So I mean, we've got a bit. That's about what, 4 or 5 months.
Yeah,
So.
I don't know. Hollywood bugs me. Like, the fact that we had trailers for A Quiet Place 2 like a year and a half ago, and that movie's still not doesn't have a release date, an official release date yet. Like, I think it's supposed to maybe come out in May now. I don't know. Or
Granted,
August.
I think a lot of that has direct relation to COVID.
Sure,
I mean,
sure. Nothing, obviously stuff happened.
Mhm.
We're in a weird place. But
You could say it's unprecedented.
For one company, not excluding that because it's not the same company, but for Disney to be like, here's trailers for all this stuff, and then to be like, yeah, this thing comes out real soon. We're not going to tell you anything. No trailers, nothing.
So,
and then to not announce Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Yeah. Captain Marvel too. Oh, okay, never mind. That has a long time before it comes out. So I looked up the updated list to try to figure it out. But yeah, Shang-Chi was actually supposed to come out so here's the fun part about not having a trailer. I know, with COVID and everything, whatever happened, but Shang-Chi was supposed to come out in February.
Oh, weird.
So it's
Black Widow was supposed to come out.
It's done. It's done.
It's real done, and we still don't have a trailer for it.
Nope.
Man, Disney. All right.
All right, guys. Well, would you like to add any thoughts about MCU currently or the road ahead, or any last little train of thoughts that you'd like to add into this conversation?
Yeah, put out some damn trailers.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna put a bunch of new stuff,
I want to see it.
Yeah, I want to know what it's about because I've never read the comics, so maybe that's on me. But maybe there's a lot of casual fans that have never read comics that like the MCU. So my final thought is, hey, Disney, if you're listening to this, and you're not, you're definitely not. I want a trailer for Shang-Chi.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, but no,
because I don't know anything about this dude. It's a dude, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's a dude.
I made a real bold guess.
I mean, you can look it up. It's cast.
Yeah. It's done. It's done.
Yeah,
They're done editing it. It's just a file ready to go.
Anyway, well, I hope you guys have enjoyed us ranting and raving about MCU, what we've loved from the past 10 plus years, the current goings of WandaVision, and what we think is going to happen in the road ahead. Next time on some kind of podcast, Tim will once again be your host. With a tentative topic of the show. So more on that later.
It's tentative because I don't know what it is.
That's going to wrap up this week's episode of Some Kind of Podcast. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment below. If you would like to reach out to us, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter at SKO Entertainers, or visit our website, www.skoentertainment.net, for more information. Also, check out our Twitch channel, Some Kind of Entertainment, where we play games occasionally. There's currently some videos getting uploaded on Resident Evil 6, Resident Evil 4. Cody, are you still doing Hitman? Never mind. Not doing that anymore. And finally, don't forget to join us next week, because even on the best of days, we all need some kind of entertainment. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
See ya.